Hey everyone, so today I thought I would talk about my personal mental illness and my experiences with it and how it affects my life, etc. So, when I was 14, I was diagnosed by a doctor with depression, but it just never really went anywhere. I never went to go see that doctor again or got any medications or anything. And that was sort of my first official time coming out to my parents with any issues like that. And then, as far as I can remember though, like, my entire life I've had depression, and anxiety kind of started more into my teen years. Sorry for my throat. Yeah, so I've had depression my entire life, and I have suicidal thoughts my entire life that I can remember. For instance, like, when I was 8 years old around, I had wanted to commit suicide, and I had attempted to, but obviously never followed through with it. And that was, I guess, my first experience with a suicide, I suppose. Anyway, so that's just sort of like a really general background of it. But as I've gotten older, it's just gotten worse. My confidence has just gone down. I guess it's just really built up over time of not talking about it, not getting help for it, and etc. So now come back to around, I'd say 2015, the very end of it, right before Christmas. I was officially diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and social anxiety by my doctor that I had while I was in university. That was when I first started medication, so I was put on venlafaxine and lorazepam. And they kind of helped, I guess, but all in all, I didn't improve, I guess you could say. So back then I was having a lot of panic attacks. So with my panic attacks, I can't breathe. Like, my throat starts feeling really tight, and I just start panicking, I suppose, and then I start hyperventilating, and it just gets worse and worse, and to the point where I'm gasping for air, I'm sweating, I'm shaking, I can't talk, and nothing really seems to calm it down. Like, people say to try and breathe, but like, in that situation, I can't. It feels like I'm gonna suffocate. Sorry, I had a cat hair in my mouth. But yeah, so I also would just have a lot of suicidal thoughts back then, and that was the gist of it. Like, I couldn't get out of bed some days, but it wasn't, I could still live with it, I suppose. But that's what it was like back then. I still had mood swings, etc., but it's just built up and became more symptoms and more things that just affect my day-to-day living. So now my depression, I suppose, has gotten worse. Sorry, I'm really jumbled up. Like, this is one of my my side effects, I suppose, or how it affects me is I can't think straight. My thoughts get really jumbled. So I haven't been completely diagnosed to where they know exactly what's wrong with me. There are cases of bipolar disorder in my family, borderline personality disorder, just a lot of mental illness. I had seen a counselor who even said that I show signs of schizophrenia, but I'll get to that more towards further into the video. So, what I've been officially diagnosed with now up to this point in time is depression, severe anxiety and social anxiety, PTSD, and I was told by a psychologist or psychiatrist that I show symptoms or signs for borderline personality disorder. So that is everything that I have been diagnosed with thus far. So my symptoms from PTSD are I get nightmares almost every single night, multiple times a night. I wake up at least every hour. I feel really paranoid. Which could also be something else, because I still need to continue being diagnosed and seeing someone, so that could be a symptom of something else, I'm not sure. I get flashbacks, I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now for my PTSD. I guess it's also followed with panic attacks and anxiety, so it's all sort of linked up together. With my anxiety, my social anxiety, it makes it really hard for me to go to the mall or go to somewhere where I know there's going to be people in general. Like, it doesn't matter the amount of people, it's just people in general. And when I know that I'm going to be heading into a situation like that, I just start getting panicky. I start feeling tight in my chest again. Sometimes the panic attack does completely go into where I'm hyperventilating. Sometimes it doesn't. But that's the thing. I get so panicky and so anxious in public and around people, but I love being around people. I'm not a good person to be alone, even though being alone is when my anxiety isn't as bad. But I'm not sure where that came from, honestly. I was bullied a lot, so that could have been it. But yeah, so that's my anxiety, and it definitely affects me having a job. Like, right now I cannot have a job. I'm not mentally stable. I had to move back home with my parents, so I don't have a living area that's in reach of a job, I suppose, because I don't have a license, so I can't drive to a job, and I sure as hell can't walk to a job because I live in the middle of nowhere. And I live in Canada, so if anyone knows what a Canadian winter is like, you understand why I can't walk to a job. Yeah. So the depression makes it hard for me to get out of bed and just to put on a smile and be able to handle a customer or sit down and do some work or anything like that. It just makes it really hard. Like, I could hardly bring myself to film this video today. I wanted to do it, but I was just like I don't know if I should. Like, no one's gonna watch it. no one cares about me, no one wants to hear my story. Like, it's just a waste of time in my head. And also I had to find a tripod, and getting up and getting my motivation to go and search for it was just 0 to none. But I just happened to find it. Where did I find it? I found it in my storage room, so that's where it was. And the only reason why I ended up going and getting it is because I started having anxiety about just not doing it. Like, what if I don't go get it now? I'll never come back to making another video. You know, it's so all over the place, my thoughts. Anyway, I feel like I'm getting a bit off topic, so I made notes, so I have to go to those because my memory is really bad. So I'll talk about things that happen to me that don't happen to a person with a mood disorder or mental illness or things like that. So people who have normal functioning brains, I suppose, but normal, really. Like, there's more people in society now with a mental illness or mood disorder than someone without anything. So I just wanted to put that out there. So what goes on up in here? I have racing thoughts. Like, it's just like more than one at a time. Just how I would describe it is almost being in like a crowded subway system or waiting at a bus stop, like a really crowded one, and just everyone's chatting and you can't distinguish one thing from another that someone is saying. That's what it's like up in my head. And I also overthink things a lot. For instance, if I know I have to go and talk to someone about something, or I'm thinking of what I want to say to someone, I play the scenario over in my head, and I get so like infatuated with it that it's like I go up into my head and I'm like seeing it happen, and I feel like I'm there. I don't see anything around me, and it's always a worst case scenario what happens, and I'll think it's real until all of a sudden I snap out of it and I'm like, whoa, like, how long was I just up in here for? And you know, it's scary. Like, sometimes it happens when I'm walking. Like, it's happened before where I'm crossing a busy street and somehow I didn't get hit. Somehow I didn't walk off into the wrong direction. So it's definitely dangerous. The thoughts that I can distinguish are, I suppose, my own brain being mentally abusive to myself. For instance, I'll be hearing, "You're not good enough, you're nothing, you're a disappointment, you're worthless," and it's all like it's almost like I can hear it, but I know that it's just me hearing that, I suppose. But I think I've learned to realize that, because when I was little, I remember hearing voices, and like I thought someone was talking, and I would turn and be like, "What did you say?" And like everyone would be like, "I wasn't talking." It's being totally quiet, no one said a word. And I remember that happening quite frequently, and I just learned to ignore it. And now I guess if it's the same thing, I've learned to realize that it's me, that it's not actually a person. What else? My nightmares have been frequent my entire life. I remember waking up screaming and screaming and screaming until my mom would come and get me out of my room and let me come sleep with her. And I would just be in tears, but I was too scared to move, and I couldn't move. And sometimes I couldn't open my eyes. I would just lay there and scream. And I used to get really paranoid, like I 100% thought something was going to attack me. And it's similar to now. Like, I get those feelings like something's coming to get me, something's gonna follow me, or something is following me, something wants to kill me. And, or like, it's really stupid, but I have this awful feeling when I just go outside to walk, especially during the night, that I'm gonna get abducted by aliens. And it's not just an irrational thought, it's like a fear. Like, inside of me, I feel like it's going to happen, even though, you know, what's the actual chances of that happening? None. So that's what that part is like, the nightmares and stuff. Now my nightmares are so vivid, I think they're real, and I can't wake myself up, and they just are awful, just awful, and sometimes they're the exact same dream that I've been having for years. Yeah, okay. So, another thing is, I guess I see things that aren't actually there. For instance, maybe a month ago, or maybe even less than a month ago, but that doesn't matter what time it was. But I was in the car with my brother, and I was just looking around, and I happened to look back behind me because I felt like I need to look back behind me, and I seen this, like, oh god, it must be like 10-foot tall, long legs, long arms, distorted humanesque figure walk across the road, and I was like, what the hell was that? I knew it wasn't real, because how could that be real? That's not something that exists. And it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. And I'll see stuff like that, and it will give me nightmares. I'll think about it over and over, but I know it's not real. And I think that's what I keep telling myself, to stop myself from going completely crazy. It's not real, it's just your brain. It's just your brains. Sorry, brain. And I'll just see like random flashes of light that no one else sees. I'll walk into a room and think a light is flickering. I'll be like, why is your light flickering? And they'll be like, it's not, it's hasn't flickered once. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, it's flickering to me, but okay. Sometimes I'll be just going about my day, like, and all of a sudden I'll just get this flash where I can't see a thing, and it's like not even a second and it's gone, and I'm like, okay, and I start getting a mood swing then. And my mood swings are drastic. I could be extremely happy, and when I'm extremely happy, I'm like jittery and like, oh, I want to do something, let's do something. And I start talking like a little kid. I'm like, I feel like a kid, I don't feel like an adult anymore. And then all of a sudden I'm angry and I want to hit something, I want to punch a hole in the wall, I want to throw something, and I hate everything, and my voice gets really mean, and I talk fast, and I'm like another person again. And then the next second I'm extremely sad, I don't want to talk to anyone. Sometimes I shut down completely and I don't talk, I don't move, I don't blink, I don't do anything. And then when I talk, I'm just like slow and just crackly. My voice isn't clear, and sometimes I can't even move my arms, and I'm just not there. And do I have any other mood swings? And then sometimes I feel nothing. That's the other one. I just don't feel anything. I could probably see, I don't know, a bird get hit by a car, which I love animals, so that would normally make me extremely sad, but in this mood I could be like, oh, okay, whatever. But when I'm not in that mood, I could probably cry. Yeah. So my mood swings are like one extreme or the next, or nothing. And I think that's one of the things that make people think I might be schizophrenic, or same with like the seeing things and hearing, or have borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder. And it's scary, but you know, I'd prefer to know what I have. I'd prefer to know so I can learn how to deal with it. I can get on the right medications and I can start living my life again, because right now I'm not living. I sit at home every day and I do absolutely nothing. That's my life right now, and it sucks. What else is there? Yeah, I can't think of much else right now, but I know there's more, so if I can't remember, I'll probably make another video. So, how it has affected my life. It's made me make some dumb decisions in relationships. For instance, my first boyfriend was abusive verbally, mentally, and physically, and I hated him. I hated his guts. I actually despised the human, but I dated him because I wanted to punish myself. I didn't think I deserved anything, so I gave myself the worst. And I was only 15 and turning 16 when I was dating him, and he ended up raping me the first time we ever slept together, which I didn't want to. I told him repeatedly I wasn't ready, and he raped me. And he would repeatedly throughout the year and a bit that we dated, because I don't want to have sex with him. I hated him. But if I didn't, I'd get abused. Or what do? You just, you just let it happen, even if you said no. You don't feel like you can do anything. You feel like you're nothing, you're small, and they're in power of you. And then it's also led me to make some stupid decisions, like meet up with complete strangers that no one I know knows, and the people that they know don't know this person either. And that's led to, again, being raped, having them try to, but as the years gone on, I've gotten stronger and I've been able to stop it. And just a lot of bad situations, and it's all because I don't care about myself and I don't think I deserve anything. It's almost like I want them to do something to me so that I'm not here anymore, I suppose, but I don't want that anymore. Like, I've got a boyfriend now and I love him, and he's really supportive of like me trying to get better, me wanting to find out what's wrong with me. When I was in the unit, like I mentioned in my last mental illness video, he came and visited me. He would talk to me every day. Yeah, he was just really supportive. And I mean, he comes out and drives half an hour, or depends, I guess, on the roads, and to get me, bring me back to his house, and then take me back the next day if I can't stay longer. Like, obviously he loves me if he's gonna do that. And I'm really, like, I really appreciate him for that, but I'm sure I don't show it sometimes because of my issues. And, you know, I want to be with him for sure, but I don't think I deserve him sometimes because he is so good to me that I'm sure sometimes I've tried to push him away without realizing it because I feel bad that he's with me and I'm so messed up. Yeah, so if you haven't already realized, this is going to be a long video. I may split it and end here and then begin another one, or end soon and then do another one. Yeah. So, yeah, I think my next video, it'll be more things I've been learning to how to cope with it and things positive that'll come out of it, I think. Yeah. Let me just check my notes one more time. Yeah, so it's all caused me a lot of issues with self-harm. For instance, my tattoo here, oops, I got, how do I show this? I got that to cover up scars that I did to myself 2 years ago. And when I lived in a dorm, I cut my wrist up so bad there was a pool of blood. But they weren't major to where I needed stitches, so I was lucky. I was just anemic then, so I probably bled a lot more. And then I was good. I hadn't touched myself for, like hurt myself for a long time. And then I have a scar over here from scratching myself when I have anxiety. And then 4 months ago or 3 months ago, I cut my wrist again, and I wanted to die. That's it. I wanted to die. I didn't want to be here anymore. And that was why I went to the unit, because I went to the hospital. They asked me, do I want them to bring this crisis people over, and I said yes. I want help now. If I don't get help now, I'm not going to make it to Christmas. And so they got help for me, and I'm so grateful that they did. Because I don't want to leave the people I love with having to take care of a funeral for me, having to live with why did she do this? Why couldn't we help? I don't want to leave them with that. So, I don't know if you can see, like, they've healed up pretty well, because they weren't very big. Oh, where's the camera? Like, you can kind of see, but not really. You can see them much more in person. And again, I mentioned in the video, I was just lucky that all I had was a really dull pair of scissors. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here. And then while I was in the unit, I obviously had no access to anything to cut myself with. So I started scratching myself. So there's this scar right here. Oh god. Which way is my wrist go? And this scar, that little one right here. I also have scars right here from anxiety when I would scratch myself. And I have scars on my leg, I think, from also doing the same thing. And scars in my hairline from scratching my scalp to where it was bleeding. So, yeah. I'm gonna definitely insert a trigger warning for that, because I know if I was in that place and I heard someone talking about that, I would have probably heard myself, so yeah. So it's definitely affected me to where I've tried to take my life many times. I've tried overdosing, just walking in front of traffic, mixing pills that I really shouldn't have gone together, mixing pills of alcohol, just a lot of things. So yeah, it's been tough. I still get suicidal thoughts. I still want to do them, but I'm really trying. I'm really, really trying my best. And if it wasn't for my family, if it wasn't for my boyfriend, my friends, I wouldn't be here. That's a given. I would not be here. And if I wouldn't be here for much longer. So I just want to end that with saying thank you so much to the people in my life. Like, you guys have helped me more than you'll ever know. And as long as you're here with me, or even just barely a part of my life, but even if you're still a part of my life somewhat, I'll keep going for you guys. Like, no matter if we're having a fight one day, I'm gonna keep going for you guys. Yeah, I'm gonna end the video before I start crying. So thank you guys for listening, and I'll be uploading more videos on this topic.